All right, beautiful. It's great to have you here this evening. This is my favorite thing, to hang out with you and to meditate together. I just can't imagine a more wonderful thing. So thank you for joining me tonight. The theme tonight is finding our inner refuge. And I've been feeling the need for this of late. Maybe you have as well. Things are getting quite intense on the planet, you may have noticed. And so somebody doesn't have there we go, I'll mute it. All right. So finding our inner refuge, and I want to clarify what the refuge is before we get into the practice tonight. I don't mean to present the refuge as an escape. I don't mean to present the refuge as a place you go to get away from the world because the world is too much. You know, I'm not wanting to have that kind of idea at all. What I'm looking for, what I'm wanting to present to you is a place that you find in yourself that feels always safe and secure, a place where you can contact higher consciousness, wisdom, guidance, perseverance, love, compassion, empathy, the things that we are so desperately needing in our world right now. You can find those things within yourself. We're trained in this culture to think that what we need to find will be found in the outer world. But in this case, you can't find this on Google. You won't be able to buy this on Amazon. You've got to find this within yourself. So we have to learn to look. We have to learn to turn within, which of course is our first step. And to discover something in ourselves that's deeper than our anxiety, or deeper than our feelings of inadequacy, or deeper than our resistance or our restlessness. We find a deep inner tranquility and equanimity, a brilliant light of pure awareness and loving kindness when we learn to look within. So that's what I'm hoping to facilitate tonight, is just an example. There's no one way to do this, of course. I'm hoping to facilitate tonight a meditative experience where you can find your inner refuge. So it starts off with our intention to do so, our intention to find something within ourselves that within which we can find stability and strength and a higher perspective, a view of wisdom, understanding, a place where we can learn to let go of our criticism and our fears and our judgments, and live more from a place of peace and understanding and loving kindness with ourselves and with each other. Okay, finding our inner refuge. So let's begin our meditative process. And we begin, as we often do, by just attending to posture for a moment. We begin to turn in by turning your attention away from the outer world. Not that the outer world is wrong or bad. There's these incredible resources we find within if we look. So we begin to turn within by first of all turning to the body and just noticing the posture. See if you can make your meditative posture one of being upright and also relaxed at the same time. Upright, erect, and relaxed. So ideally, and I say this because many of us tonight are not sitting in chairs that are conducive to this, but ideally you want to line up your crown chakra with your root chakra, so that there's a nice straight line. It's a channel that runs from the root chakra to the crown chakra. So when we slough or we bend, it doesn't allow for a movement of energy in this channel called the sushumna. So the idea is to sit up nice and straight, but not in a way that feels rigid, because we're going to be in this position for a bit now, maybe a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. So then begin by relaxing the body. Once you have found an upright posture, then invite the body to unclench and relax. This could be a meditation just in and of itself, to stay focused on physical sensation and on the condition of your physical body, and to touch everything with compassion and to let everything soften. Living in our outer world, which is right now quite stressed, there's lots of anxiety, lots of unrest, frustration, lots of fear. When we experience these energies, the body tends to, and the mind as well, tend to clench like a fist. So as we turn inward to seek our inner refuge, we let the body soften and unclench. And for some of you, this may take a little practice. Many of us live in a contracted, clenched state most of the time. And now begin to breathe into this more open and relaxed body, a slower, longer breath pattern. Make the breath a little more refined. Slow it down. When we live in chronic stress and anxiety, the breath gets shallow and short. So we begin to give a message to the mind, everything is okay, simply by choosing to breathe in a slower, fuller, deeper, more relaxed kind of way. So be aware of the experience you're having. We've just done a couple of steps, turned inward, relaxed the body, slowed, lengthened, deepened our breath pattern. And what do you notice? Now, this often goes against what we've been practicing for a long, long time, which is stress, clenching, worrying, obsessing, all these things that we so naturally do, especially when things in our life and in the world are chaotic as they are. So this is a practice. We don't do this perfectly. We're not expecting to come into any kind of state that we can stay in for long periods of time. It's not what we're looking for. We're looking to intervene on the mind, this anxious, stressed, kind of reactive state of consciousness. It's easy to live in when we're experiencing what we're experiencing in the world right now. To intervene, to slow things down, to find that we can enter into another state of consciousness through a series of simple steps. So let's work for a moment on cultivating a little grounding. And to do this, I'd like you to come into your heart center, right the center of your chest. This is where we're going to be looking for and finding the inner refuge is in the heart center. I'd like you to think of your heart center as an incredibly beautiful outdoor temple. It just may be made completely out of nature, whatever you visualize. Now, from the heart center, I want you to look down and connect with the root chakra, which is right there at the perineum. And from the root chakra, send a cord of energy or a root down into the earth. Now you're doing this from the vantage point or from the perspective of the heart. So from the heart, you look down to the root chakra, and from the root chakra, you send a grounding cord down into the earth. And just have the intention that this grounding cord penetrate down to the core of the planet, to the heart of Mother Earth. Now, it's helpful to understand, if you're open to this idea, that the Earth, that planet Earth, is not just a rock spinning through space. It's a living being, sometimes called Gaia. So this idea, when I'm grounding into a vast, profound, ancient state of consciousness, level of consciousness. That is the consciousness of planet Earth. Most of what we would call reality are aspects of planet Earth. Certainly, all the aspects of our physical body are made of the elements of planet Earth. So we ground down into this living being, Mother Earth. Send this grounding cord from the heart through the root chakra into the heart of Mother Earth. And just notice what that's like for you. You can feel a sense of rootedness, of stability, of strength. There's an energy we get back from Mother Earth when we ground in this way. Stability and strength. It's possible when we practice grounding in this way to begin to feel like a mountain, like Mount Shasta. Solid and stable. And the winds of change and chaos in the world blow around us, and we're unmovable, unchanging, stable, safe. So then come back up into the heart center. Feel your connection from your heart center to the heart center of the planet. Feel your connection from your heart center down into the heart center of the planet, the heart center of Mother Earth. And we're taking these simple steps. And each one we take, I want you just to check in with yourself. What is the effect? of taking this simple step? What am I noticing? In what way, even in the most subtle way, is my experience shifting, changing, evolving? Now, as in all meditations, you may need to work skillfully with things like resistance. There may be some part of you that's resisting moving into this meditation more deeply. Certain words that I use or imagery that I use may strike a certain chord of resistance. Or just going more deeply into your being may not be familiar, and to the ego may create some anxiety. There could be a busyness in the mind, a chatter. The mind is used to stimulation, either because we're like constantly on a device or we're constantly thinking, constantly running stories, obsessing with certain ideas in the mind. The mind is used to being stimulated all the time. And so when we come to meditation, we settle into ourselves, things begin to get quiet. And that may be unfamiliar for the mind. And so the mind will stay busy and will talk and chatter. And don't fight that. That's totally fine. It's normal. It's natural. Just notice that your awareness is much deeper than that mind chatter. This inner refuge that we're finding is back behind the surface of the mind that chatters and that worries and that resists. So if you have a little of that busy mind going on, a little of that resistance, a little anxiety, just watch it with compassion, with patience, and go more deeply into yourself, more deeply into the heart center. The refuge we're looking for is deeper in. So then we begin to both cultivate and to discover a deeper stillness and silence in ourselves as we go deeper in spite of the fact that there still may be busyness and noise at the surface. Go deeper. Let that kind of be a mantra throughout the course of this meditation. Go deeper. Get behind the drama of the mind. You are so much more than that drama. You are so much more than the drama of your mind or personality. So let's continue to work for a moment with this idea of cultivating silence. There's two breath patterns that I'd like us to use. Working with our breath is a wonderful way of quieting the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. So the first way is just to take a slower, longer, fuller, deeper breath. Breathe into the belly. Let the breath continue to rise up through the solar plexus, up into the ribs, and all the way up into the shoulders. So it's a much deeper breath than you're probably used to taking. Then you exhale from the top down, out of the shoulders, out of the lungs and ribs, out of the solar plexus. And at the end of the exhalation, pull the navel into the spine. Then relax the belly and drink in your next inhalation. Belly, solar plexus, ribs, shoulder blades. Clavicles. The top of the inhalation, let the chest raise a little bit. Literally let the breastbone raise up and away from the pelvis. Breathing into the lower belly, feeling it expand through the solar plexus, expand through the chest, and finally all the way up to the clavicles, up into the shoulders. And then your exhalation, let it empty all out. So you intentionally regulate how quickly you breathe in and how quickly you breathe out. You regulate it so that you breathe in much slower than you're used to, and fuller and deeper. And you exhale much slower than you used to. Do your best to concentrate on every aspect of the breath experience. Breathing in as deeply as you can, but without strain. Take 4 more good full breaths like this. Then let the breath return to its normal rhythm for a moment before we move into our next breath pattern. Just notice the effect of the practice. Especially what I want you to look for is an inner sense of stillness and silence. This inner stillness and silence is the indication that you're connecting with your inner refuge. So now, I want you to begin to breathe again, nice and full and deep, but it won't be as deep as the last one. You're going to draw your inhalation in between the shoulder blades from behind you. You're going to breathe your breath right into the center of your chest as you inhale from behind you. And then as you exhale, you'll just let the breath radiate out in all directions from the heart center. This may seem strange if you've not practiced it, And I want you to visualize that you're breathing in light. You're inhaling light in from behind, from what we call the space behind the heart. And don't be surprised if you feel an energy with this, a vibration, a quickening with this. We're breathing into the heart center, the light of the soul. We breathe the light of the soul into the temple of the heart. So again, you're inhaling in from behind as though there is a portal right between the shoulder blades. You draw this breath light in from behind, fill the heart center with it as you inhale. And then as you exhale, let it just radiate out in all directions, having the sense of opening and expanding and energizing the heart with every breath. Keep this breath pattern going, breathing in light through the space between the shoulder blades, filling the heart center with the light of the soul, radiating that light out in all directions as you exhale. And begin, even as you're doing this, see if you can tune into the stillness and the silence. Now, there may also be a growing intuitive sense of light in the heart. But most likely, you'll also be able to sense a growing stillness and silence within. So, to be clear, the refuge isn't the temple of your heart. The refuge is the light of your soul. The refuge is higher consciousness. That's the refuge. That's the inner refuge. Making contact with, coming into alignment with the light of your soul, with the light of your higher self. And we're looking forward in the temple of our heart, this open-aired, natural, fabulous, beautiful temple, now filled with light, with presence of our higher self. And now we're not looking necessarily for something incredible or spectacular or spiritual. Again, look instead just for a growing sense of stillness and silence and peace. And know that this peace is always here to be found. It is a state of being. It is a part of your being. It's not related to what's happening in the outer world. Peace is your nature. Let whatever sense of peace that you may be feeling, just a growing calm and well-being, let that become stronger as you continue to breathe in this way. Let the breath pattern of breathing in from behind, let that go, and just rest in the center of your temple, the temple of your heart, deep within, far back behind the noise that may still be taking place at the surface. Now we're going to do another very important exercise of working with light to strengthen and grow our sense of connection to higher consciousness. We are used to being very identified with the personality, the physical, emotional, and mental bodies, and all the cacophony and noise and chaos that we might experience in the personality level and in our relationship to the outer world. We have a profound inner depth. And our true consciousness extends to the highest level and penetrates down to the core of the earth. And we're going to experience that now. So I'd like you to, from being centered in your heart, move your awareness up to what's called the soul chakra, which is an energy center above the head, about 6 to 8 inches above the head. If you bring your attention, your awareness, and rest it about 6 to 8 inches above the head, concentrate your attention there, you may begin to feel a sense of sensation, vibration, energy. If this doesn't happen right away, understand that it may take a little practice. Keep your attention right there. Now, from high above the head, have the intuitive sense or see through your intuition that light is coming down from above. From the highest level of source consciousness, of divine consciousness, streaming down into the soul chakra, or soul star, it's sometimes called, is this beam of light. Radiant, powerful beam of light. If you don't see it or feel it, it's totally fine. Visualize it. Imagine it. Imagination is a way of breaking free from the limitations of our conditioned mind. This light is very real. Visualize it coming down and energizing and making brilliant the soul chakra that's just about 6 to 8 inches above the head. And through that soul chakra now, the light shines to the crown chakra, right at the crown of the head. Concentrate your attention at the crown. Feel the light from high above penetrating down through the soul star, now onto the root chakra, activating the root chakra. I'm sorry, the crown chakra, activating the crown chakra. All right, now move your attention back up into the soul star. Feel, see, or visualize light streaming down into the soul star. And now streaming to and through the crown chakra down into the third eye, which I want you to concentrate just not so much at the space between the eyebrows as the center of your head. Just with this sense, light now streaming down through the soul star, through the crown chakra, filling the head with light. This is the descending light of spirit, infinite grace and love and wisdom, inspiration, power. We're working with our nature behind the personality, so to speak. All right, now bring your attention back up to the soul star. This is the way we're going to do each step. Visualizing light coming down into the soul star. And then powerfully radiating through the soul star, through the crown, through the head, down into the throat chakra at the base of the throat. This takes some concentration. Just stay in the process. Just do your best. Something very real, very important is happening, even if you can't sense it or feel it. Now the attention goes back up to the soul star with a visualization of light streaming in from high above the head down into the soul star. Soul star becoming quite radiant at this point. Shining down now through the crown, through the head, through the throat, and into the chest. And here, the light from above pours into and mixes, blends with the light of the soul. See if you can perceive what that's like. To have this inner temple now radiant with brilliant light, both the descending light of spirit and the light of the soul. Take your awareness back up to the soul star. Visualize light pouring into the soul star. And then pouring through crown, head, throat, heart, and down into the navel chakra, just below the navel, in the center of the body. Light pours down. There is now a growing sense of a brilliant channel of light, all the way from the soul star now down all the way to the navel chakra. See, feel, or visualize the light pouring down all the way into the navel chakra. Bring your attention back up to the soul star. Visualize light pouring down into the soul star. Now it pours down through the crown, through the head, throat, heart, navel chakra, and into the sacral chakra, which is just above the pubic bone. Concentrate there in the sacral chakra and receive the light that's pouring down into it. Bring your attention back up to the soul star, light pouring into the soul star. And then down through the crown, head, throat, the heart center, down through the navel center and the sacral center into the root chakra, right at the perineum. And this central channel is now glowing with this light. One last time, bring attention back up to the soul star. Visualize light pouring through, pouring to the soul star. And now we bring it down through the chakric system. And now it pours down through the root chakra and all the way down into the center of the earth, following the cord that we set earlier. Have the sense of yourself now as centering in the chest, in this brilliant light in the chest. And there is this beam of light that's coming from high above, moving through your entire system and grounding into the planet. And you are held in that beam of light, and your heart center is just brilliant. And just rest in this visualization, in this experience. See if you can perceive, without getting into any analytical process, perceive the nature, the qualities of this light in the heart. It's a brilliance here, an infinite wisdom, infinite love and compassion for all beings. There's a bliss here and a power. A sense of indomitable presence, equanimity, we take one more step in the meditation, what I like to call the crucial shift. It's a shift in identity, a shift from thinking yourself to be a separate self resting in the light, to knowing yourself to be the light. I am this light. I am this light of pure consciousness and awareness and love. Normally operating perhaps just behind the drama of the mind. This is what I am. This is what I invite you to say to yourself. I am this light of pure consciousness and awareness and love. Just for a moment, let go the idea of being a body with a name and a role. Let yourself be absorbed in this inner stillness, in this vast field of pure consciousness and awareness and love. And now, just before we end, can you visualize yourself in the various contexts of your life? But visualize yourself there as the light. And yes, there's the body and there's the functioning, and you're doing your work, or you're interacting with family, or you're out on a walk, or you're whatever you're doing. But you're doing it from this profound inner sense of light in the heart. You're interacting from this great sense of awareness and love, from this perspective where you can perceive your connection to all that you're interacting with. That wherever your body is, there is this brilliant light that's radiating out that is a tremendous blessing to everyone around you. This light that penetrates out into this shared field of consciousness. And see if you can just feel for a moment how, instead of you being so influenced by the environment and by news feeds and by Facebook posts and by the dire predictions of our future, instead of being so influenced by that, your light has a greater influence on all of that. The radiance of your light and your peace, your deep insight into the nature of things. Feel how the light in your heart has a greater influence on the environment than the environment has on you. All right, then take a nice deep breath. Feel the way the body is being supported by your chair or your couch. And when you're ready, open your eyes and let your body move a little bit. As you open your eyes and you look around your room, you see your familiar space. See if you can still have the sense that there is in the chest, there's this great radiant light. I would like to give you an opportunity to ask questions of our process, make comments if you'd like. Understand, because I'm recording this and I'm going to post this on Facebook, that by raising your hand and taking the opportunity to speak, you're giving me permission to post your question with this recording on Facebook. So just understand that. Does anybody have anything you'd like to ask or contribute or share? I know it's sometimes difficult to come out of a meditation such as this and talk. So the meditation was made up of a number of different steps. Any one of those steps could just be, you could just spend 10 minutes with that step, and that could be a meditation in and of itself. We spent 40 minutes building one thing on top of another. I'm hoping that you were able to get the idea that there is a state of consciousness that we can touch into, which is profoundly peaceful and rejuvenating, centering. And I think that there's very few things that as human beings, it's more important that we learn than how to live in the world and in relationship with each other from this inner light. All right, so I'm not seeing any hands. So we'll call that good for tonight. Thank you so much for sharing this space, contributing to this meditation. Your being here, sharing this larger heart is a real beautiful thing. It really adds to the nature and the power of these meditative practices. So I thank you so much. And I hope to see you next week as we'll do another meditative adventure and learn how to operate from the light of our soul. I love you. God bless. Namaste.
Thank you.